Barbie Starlight bed has a light that makes 5 different shapes. You put it together. Doll fashion and batteries not included.
There are lots of teddy bears, but only one Teddy Ruxpin.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
Sure, Teddy.
Your friend is what I'd like to
He's
be.
alive. How does he do that? He's a magic bear.
One day, we found an old treasure map. The treasure was supposed to be
my friend Teddy Ruxpin.
Teddy Ruxpin, batteries not included.
Sometimes I get so mad. But in the paper, it must be true. Well, Boris Badanov's efforts to make Moosylvania the world's most popular disaster area have really brought results.
Golly, Bullwinkle, we've got more emergency supplies than we know what to do with.
Yeah, here's 22 gross of emergency collar buttons. Now, if we only wore emergency collars,
Well, how about this? 46 tons of bubble gum. That's a lot.
more than I use in a week.
Yes, the kind-hearted citizens of the USA had made Moosylvania the dumping ground for every surplus item in the country. In fact, so much junk was piled up on the swampy soil of Moosylvania that the whole island began to sink.
Bullwinkle, I'm up to my knees in water.
You were expecting champagne?
Hadn't we better leave?
Leave Moosylvania? But, Rocky, I'm the governor.
Oh.
A good governor always goes down with his state.
So?
Natasha, you wouldn't believe it. That idiot Moose is going to drown himself.
And all the supplies too, darling.
Yeah, that's right. All this... Oh, boy. Those are our supplies.
Ours? But we haven't stolen them yet, Boris.
It's only a matter of crime, Natasha.
And if all that loot goes underwater, what will fearless leader say?
He'll say, you go underground, bad enough.
Funny, that's what I thought you'd say, dear old superior.
Bad enough you are supposed to steal all those supplies and send them to Moosylvania.
But fearless leader is not the right time yet.
Bad enough the island is loaded.
I tell you, it's not the right time.
And it's starting to sink.
It's still not the right time.
And if you don't get to work, you will be #1 on the liquidation parade.
Now is the right time. Come, Natasha.
Mooring close to the soggy site, Boris and Natasha began swiping supplies and rowing them to their submarine yacht. But fast as they could steal, the island sank still faster. Meanwhile, Rocky was perched atop a 16-ton cement mixer, watching Bullwinkle, who was still determined to go down with his stake.
Yeah, I'm a determined sinker, Rock.
You can say that again.
I don't think I dare.
There must be something I can do for you.
How about a rousing chorus of taps?
Isn't there anything you want?
How about a piece of that bubble gum?
Bullwinkle, that's it.
What's it?
Bubble gum. That's how we'll save Moosylvania.
You putting me on, Rock?
Bubble gum? Boris, what does this mean?
It means Squirtle has finally flipped his goggles. Come, help me with these cartons of butterscotch yogurt.
Meanwhile, Rocky was dumping boxes of bubble gum into the huge cement mixer.
I just wanted one little piece, Rock.
You won't need one, Bullwinkle. Watch.
And the brainy squirrel zoomed to a large tank of surplus helium left over from the Navy blimp school. In a few minutes, he had fastened the tank to the batch of bubble gum and turned on the valve. Instantly, the bubblegum opened into an enormous helium-filled balloon, which Rocky then fastened to a nearby tree root.
I just wanted one little piece, Rock.
Don't you see, Bullwinkle? These balloons will keep Moosylvania from sinking.
True, in just a little while, Rocky had a dozen of these huge balloons swaying in the breeze. Of course, their upward pull countered the weight of the supplies. The island stopped sinking, and Bullwinkle slowly emerged from the swamp.
Ta-da!
Boris, the squirrel has done it again.
You know, I hate to admit it, Natasha, but he's a pretty smart cookie.
Then why are you lighting the fuse on that dynamite?
Because that's the way the cookie crumbles.
And Boris tossed the dynamite right under our hero's furry tail. Don't miss our next bang-up episode, Moosylvania Mishmash, or A State of Confusion.
Junior. Don't you know dinner's on the table?
Oh, please. Don't mention dinner, Dad.
Oh, off your feet, eh?
Yeah, thanks to one of your morals.
Oh, which one is that?
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
That's not one of mine. Besides, it looks like you've had more than one apple.
Oh, but golly, you wouldn't think 14 of them would give you a tummy ache.
You would if they weren't ripe.
But they are ripe. Look how red they are.
Well, the skin may be ripe, but inside, that's something else. Like I always say, son, you can't judge a book by its cover.
These are apples, Dad, not...
I'm reminded of a fable I wrote some years ago. The Fox and the Three Weasels. Weasels have a very unsavory reputation, especially three weasels named Tom, Dick, and Larry. They began life behind bars, the bars of a playpen.
We have got to break out of here.
Yeah, I'm getting stir-crazy, see?
I lost my pacifier.
That night, when all was still, a rattle with a serrated edge was brought out. And the result was that three errant characters went out into society to launch an unparalleled crime wave. They began by holding up trains that ran under Christmas trees. Next, they robbed piggy banks. They even sank so low as to take candy from babies.
What a haul.
Yeah, 11 cents, eh?
And 14 all day, sucker.
But these dastardly deeds brought the minions of the law hot on the heels of the Weasel Gang.
Of all the stupid things.
Yeah, we'll be back in our playpen before we know it. And then fate intervened, for just ahead a bridge spanned a river.
Across the river is the state line. They couldn't follow us there.
But look at the bridge. It's like only half completed.
So what? Halfway across the state line is better than nothing.
Offhanded, you'd surmise that this was the finish of the Weasel Gang, but such wasn't the case. For a ferry boat happened to be on the river, and the getaway car simply fell to the parking area. But this time, fate wasn't so kind, for that ferry boat was on a sightseeing cruise, and her first stop was Stony Island, home of the state prison. Naturally, the newspapers played it up big, and one of the periodicals came to the attention of Tycoon J. Fox, the canned soup millionaire.
I could use three lads like those.
Indeed he could, for his canned soup empire was tottering.
Sorry, TJ, but there's no market for chocolate soup.
No, Chief. It isn't the alphabet soup the customers object to. It's what the letters spell out when they pour it.
Maybe it's your advertising, boss. I mean, a motto that says, it's what we drank on the Titanic.
My only salvation lies in winning the annual new soup contest. I've got to come up with a new soup.
And then one day, an old janitor who had once washed windows in Tibet swept his way into the Fox's office.
What's this, Bloomington? Your resignation?
No, Mr. Fox, that's an ancient recipe. It shows you how to make the soup of the 7 moons.
Fox knew a winner when he saw one. There was just one hitch.
In order to make this soup, you must get the sprout of a has-been and the pollen from a wallflower. The only way to get them is to steal them.
That's where the Weasel Gang came in. The next morning, the Fox paid a visit to their cell.
Then you'll get those ingredients for me?
Oh, sure, but how could we do it from in here?
Now, wise guy, nobody's ever busted out of Stony Island. Oh, no? The guards are eating soup for dinner. My soup.
At 6 that evening, the lights came on and the guards went out from eating Fox's soup. The weasels and their benefactor walked to freedom.
All right, boys, get going. I have to have that soup by tomorrow morning.
The gang did their work well. They returned with their sacks full and dumped the contents into a large vat.
Now, leave me alone. I've got work to do.
The new soup contest was practically over by the time the fox arrived with his vat, and the judges were about to announce the winner.
No, do it. Don't say a word until you've tasted this.
And that's where Tycoon J. Fox made his mistake. The judge took one small sip and immediately turned blue.
My stars! Look what's in that vat!
There, swimming among the has-beens, were old shoes, alarm clocks, license plates, and alligator wallets. The fox turned to the three weasels.
I told you to steal has-beens and wallflowers.
And the fox and the weasels went to prison. So you see, my boy, you can't judge a book by its cover.
The fable's right, but the moral's wrong, Pop.
What should it be?
Too many crooks. Spoil the broth.
Sorry.
Go the truth.
Sorry.
It's the game of
Sorry.
first you're way ahead, then you get bumped way back. So shake a leg, and you'll get home first. The sorry game.
Ready for Honey Nut Cheerios?
Yeah.
Honey and Nuts. As part of this complete breakfast, it's irresistible.
Honey. And nuts. Lord.
Honey Nut Cheerios. It's irresistible.
I'm Tornado Rex, and I love to wreck. Smash, whirl, crash. The Tornado Rex game. Move your man up to win, but don't get knocked off.
That tornado has quality. Tornado Rex.
From Parker Brothers. Call me Rex.
Quite some time ago, a young bear, upon reaching his 21st birthday, said to his mother...
I think I'll take a walk in the rain.
You go out in your bare feet and you'll catch cold.
But he paid his mother no heed and took a 3-hour constitutional in what amounted to a torrential downpour. Oddly enough, he didn't catch cold, but he did contract a severe case of up-and-down fever, which ran up and down the coast at that time of year.
I feel awful. Where am I?
Citrus of Lemon Hospital, I'm your nurse, and I shall watch over you until you're well healed again.
The fever-racked Bruin had a nasty time, and for a while it was doubtful whether he'd ever pull through. And then, suddenly, instead of taking a turn for the worse, he took a turn for the nurse.
Boy, what you do to me.
The bear got his health, and the nurse got a husband. They were married in the little church around the corner, up the hill, across the tracks from Grandma's house.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Give the little lady a bear hug.
We now move forward in our story some 10 years later. Mr. and Mrs. Bear reside in this cozy cottage. They have a 10-year-old bear son. Well, that is, he doesn't run around bear. He's a bear, little bear. I mean, well, you know what I mean.
Daddy, where's my baseball glove?
Don't ask me, kid. There's so much junk lying around here, I can't even find a front door.
Oh, it's true. The house was a mess. And it was all because Mrs. Bear sat around all day watching television and munching chocolates.
Ethel, are you in this room?
I'm over in the corner watching the radio.
The narrator said you were watching television.
Television's busted. I'm watching radio.
Well, look, Ethel, this place is a mess. And it's about time we cleaned up around here.
She cleaned up all right, and she started by mopping up the floor with Mr. Bear.
Leave me alone when I'm watching radio.
This deplorable situation existed for 1 year, and then, one day, Mr. Bear put his foot down.
Ow! Ooh, I'm sorry, kid. I didn't see you. Ethel, I'm going to make a very important phone call, if I can find a phone.
It took 1 full week, but by tracing the wire, he finally located the instrument.
Hello? Home Economy Bureau? Say, send over a home economist, will you?
Why are you doing that?
Because somebody's going to come over and see how we're living, that's what. You'll send one over? Keno, lady. She's on her way.
So is dinner. Porridge is on the table.
Whereabouts is the table?
It's in the dining room somewhere. We'll find it.
Thanks to the steam emanating from the porridge bowls, they found the table and prepared to dine.
Ooh, this porridge is too hot.
Yeah, you're right. It is a trifle warm.
It's too hot for me to eat.
Come on, we'll take a walk in the woods and let it cool off.
What about the home economist?
Let her cool her own porridge.
No. I mean, suppose she gets him and finds nobody home.
So she'll wait.
Well, as if you hadn't guessed by now, the home economist was named Goldilocks.
This place needs dusting. seen.
I don't know how she did it, but the next thing she saw was the porridge on the table.
Better sample this and make out a consumer's report. Brand X is far superior to brand Y or Z. And it tastes just like the higher-priced mush.
Next in line was the durability test on the furniture.
They're all Danish marble.
Making a note of it, she then went upstairs to examine the bedroom, which was a very difficult thing to do, as this was a one-story house.
3 beds, leaping lizards.
Yes. Goldilocks was once the voice of little orphan Annie before she had her eyes fixed. Anyway, our little home economist tested all 3 beds and eventually fell asleep on the smallest of the 3.
Well, we're home. Let's see.
Hi! Somebody's been eating my porridge.
Yeah, somebody's been eating mine.
Whoever ate mine even ate part of the bowl.
Mush-banglers.
Don't be silly. It was probably the home economist. Oh, my gosh, look at my rocking chair. It's still rocking.
We've been invaded.
Calm down. I tell you, it's probably the home economist.
It was then that Goldilocks' snoring fell upon their ears.
I hope it isn't those boys from UCLA looking for another mascot.
I'll get my gun.
It was a mighty concerned threesome that ascended the stairs.
I thought this was a one-story house.
The snoring's getting louder.
Well, sir, they spotted Goldilocks sleeping in the little bear's bed. Well, that's better.
You in the little bear's bed. Give your name, rank, and serial number. Oh, hello. I'm Goldilocks, the home economist.
Now, you see, Ethel, I told you. Say, what do you think of our living conditions, Annie?
Goldilocks, I think you're living in squalor. Isn't that near Beverly Hills? By squalor, I mean that your living conditions are deplorable. Awful, real bad.
That's what I've been telling Ethel for years. What can we do about it?
Move. I shall see to it that you live in a nice, clean, modern apartment specifically designed for bears.
Wonderful!
And so the 3 bears moved, but they weren't happy.
Nice, clean, modern apartment. Phooey.
Well, at least it's got air conditioning.
Hello again, Peabody here. Sherman, what does the word Sphinx make you think of?
Skunk?
Oh, dear. Never mind. Today we are going to Egypt to witness the true story behind the building of the first Great Pyramid. Getting right down to the business at hand, I instructed Sherman to set the way back for the year 3000 B.C. and the place, Giza, on the border of the Libyan desert. Needless to say, the Wayback responded beautifully, slammed into high gear, and in less than an instant, we were standing inside the palace of Cheops, second king of the 4th dynasty. However, it appeared as though we had arrived at a rather bad time.
By the beard of the sacred flamingo, I won't have it.
I beg your pardon, Your Highness, but what seems to be the trouble?
My mustache. That is what's the trouble.
Mustache? But you don't have a mustache.
I do over there.
He directed our eyes to a huge painting of himself on the far side of the room that covered the entire wall. Sure enough, it had a large black mustache on it.
It took 300 slaves 2 years to paint that magnificent picture of me. Then he comes along and puts a mustache on it.
And whom, might I ask, is he?
The evil Prince Ahmed Fez.
Is he your arch enemy?
Yes, and he is also just 5 years old. If he wasn't my nephew, I'd...
His words were cut short by a large pimento cream pie full in the face. This little beast, I take it, is Prince Ahmed Fez?
The third.
Gosh, you mean there were 2 more like him? Ouch!
Ooh, that Ahmed. I'll feed him to the camels. I'll...
Sire, you must remember he's only a child. Perhaps
nothing. This time I will build a swimming pool shaped like King Farouk. It will be the biggest swimming pool in the world. I'd like to see him wreck that.
He can't paint a mustache on it either. But poor Cheops is still on the wrong track, Mr. Peabody.
Construction began immediately, and in what even I consider record time, the pool was completed.
It's done. This pool will go down in history as a great wonder of the world.
I'm sorry, sire, but I'm afraid it's about to go up in the air as another failure. It seemed as if dear little Prince Ahmed had obtained some gunpowder on a recent trip to China, and this gave me a brilliant idea.
It's no use. I give up.
No need for that, sire. I have a plan.
Mr. Peabody always has a plan, Your Highness. Why, one time he...
Never mind, Sherman. I'll give him an autographed copy of my memoirs before we leave. I took a pencil and some papyrus and quickly drew some very complicated plans.
What is this?
It is the monument you are going to build to yourself, a pyramid.
Pyramid? Say, I like this idea. But what about Prince Ahmed?
You leave him to me. Just make certain the pyramid is constructed exactly as I have indicated. Every slave in the kingdom was called to the task. Huge stones were quarried, shaved to the precise size, and rolled into position. 40 days and 30 nights later, the project was complete.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Mr. Peabody, I never thought I'd live to see the day.
What day is that, Chairman?
The day you would make a mistake. Look, you designed the pyramid upside down. It's standing on its point.
I'm surprised at you, Chairman. That is the most perfectly precogitated part of my plan. Remember, Ahmed the Terrible is still lurking about with his gunpowder and... there he is now, right on schedule. Inasmuch as I had designed the monument with this in mind, the pyramid was not damaged a bit. It simply flew into the air, turned over 3.5 times, and then... settled to earth in its proper position.
Perfect! Oh, Mr. Peabody, can you ever forgive me for doubting your velocity?
I suppose so, Sherman, but that is veracity. At this point, the problem was solved. The world now had one of its 7 wonders.
What about Prince Ahmed? Won't he cause more trouble?
Not when you consider the pyramid is 481 feet high, and there is a fine, spanking breeze at the top. You see, Sherman, I managed to get to the seat of most any problem.
Gee, it was sure nice of King Cheops to invite us to dinner, Mr. Peabody. Yum. This is delicious. I wonder what it is.
It's just something else His Highness is famous for. In fact, this particular dish was named after him.
You don't mean...
That's right, Sherman. Lamb Cheops.
Hang tight. Nickelodeon's Moose-a-Rama will be right back.
Is this thing on?
Here, I'll show you. See, let me see. I love video scavenger hunts.
Spotted Dog, Rock Group. Rock Group? Hi, Mom. I don't see Geek on it.
Is McDonald's on there? Let's roll. For stars.
Spotted Dog, Twins, Moving Van,
Group Headstand.
Got it.
Twins? Oh, I always see twins. And McDonald's.
Oh.
Big house. Spotted Dog.
Moving Van.
I always see moving vans at McDonald's. Come on.
It's moving. It's a van. It counts.
Let's check it out.
Hey, a rock group. Works for me. What's next? Right convertible?
Skycam. What are you doing up there?
Get down.
I always see red convertible.
At McDonald's.
Let's go. Yeah. Hey, we're doing great. I'm doing great.
Look, twins.
Not anymore.
Still need a man in uniform.
Hey, whoa. Hey, man in uniform. I knew we'd find everything at McDonald's.
But why don't you say something?
My name's Coco, happy as can be, as long as I've got my Cocoa Krispies. I've got to watch out for the Jungle King, for chocolatey taste he'll pull anything. Now a little tickle never hurts anyone. I protect what's mine and I have a bit of fun. Oh yeah. Kellogg's Cocoa Krispies are such a chocolatey and delicious part of this complete breakfast. Even the milk turns chocolate. With every bite so chocolatey. Oh, everybody wants my Cocoa Krispies.
You are in the O-Zone. And now back to Nickelodeon's Moose-a-Rama.
Well, in our last episode, Rocky saved the island of Moosylvania from sinking by using his brainy little head.
And 46 tons of bubble gum.
Same thing.
But an angry Boris lit the fuse on a stick of dynamite and tossed it right at Rocky.
Quick, back to the submarine, Natasha. You don't want to be hit by flying pieces of flying squirrel.
Calling Boris Badenov. Come in, Badenov.
Come in, fearless little booby. You see me toss dynamite at squirrel?
Badenov, you are an incompetent, stupid, disgusting little nincompoop.
Who's little?
If that dynamite goes off on the island, the balloons will collapse, the island will sink, and there will be nothing left for us to steal but acres and acres of goo.
It's just that she's so tall it makes me look
Acres of what?
Go! Go!
Natasha, I think Fearless Leader is in his second childhood.
Boris, he's talking about what the dynamite will do to those sticky balloons.
Yeah, they're... Oh, boy.
And Boris dashed madly away. In a flash, he returned with a sizzling dynamite, which he deposited neatly in a handy, thin trash barrel.
See, you got to have a cool head and nerves of a thin trash barrel.
Darling, that is not a trash barrel. That is a ventilator on our submarine.
Gee, I could have sworn that was a trash barrel.
Yeah, you're certainly a dumbhead. Me too.
And while Boris sinks slowly in the west, let's travel east and see how our friends are making up.
Well, I guess those balloons will hold till we can send all this stuff back, Bullwinkle.
Send it back?
Sure. Moosylvania's not really a disaster area. It always looks that way.
But how do we send it back?
Easy. Call your friendly neighborhood moving man. Is me, my card.
Van and storage. You're a moving man?
Watch.
Yup, he's moving all right.
And you'll return all this stuff for us? How much?
For you, I do it free from charge.
Free?
Boris, you're not going to take the money?
Natasha, if they pay me to steal from them, I lose my amateur standing.
And so it was a short time later that a makeshift barge loaded with a fantastic amount of surplus goodies was headed out to the open sea.
Moosylvania, here we come.
At that moment, a sinister-looking black submarine surfaced beside them, and out stepped Fearless Leader himself.
Boris Baby Liebchen.
Liebchen?
When we peddle all this stuff, Moosylvania will be in the black again. You've saved the country.
You mean I'm a hero?
Absolutely. And so I now give you the Moosylvanian Order of the Double Cross. Here, catch.
Boris, look out!
Yes, that tiny ounce of metal was just 1 ounce too many. The added weight began to push the enormous barge underwater.
Oh, come on, not twice in one episode.
Boris, darling, throw the metal overboard.
But Fearless Leader himself gave that to me.
Bad enough, you're sinking the whole cargo.
What happens if it sinks?
You get shot.
What happens if I throw away the metal?
You get shot.
Well, at least I got a choice. Now let me see.
Well, the old place is back to subnormal, Rock.
Yeah, and we... Hey, was that a shot?
Heck no, Rock.
Well, it sounded like a shot.
Nope.
Then what was it?
That was the end.
By George, he's got it. It is the end. But watch for another episode soon of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
It may be a little hard to find, but don't give up.
We're not.
This Mega Nicktoon Monday, get a 5-hour-long Mega Jolt of Fluffington's ever-changing superhero. Fly with Doug.